My friends, may the good Lord give all of you peace. The real question for us this Sunday, as we reflect on the 9th chapter of John's Gospel, the story of the man born blind, is this: are you blind? Can you see? Our story is filled with several blind people when we take a close look at it. Obviously, the man born blind himself, around whom the whole story centers. The Pharisees are loaded with blindness that they don't see. And even Jesus' disciples at the beginning, as Jesus approaches the blind man, they ask Jesus, whose sin is it that caused him to be blind? Jesus says, of course, it's neither. And so often, don't you and I think that if there's a sickness or a disability or some crisis, that maybe it's because we sinned or somebody sinned. So we're assured that our God doesn't work like that. The Pharisees. The Pharisees are experiencing what experts today call cognitive dissonance. And we all have that from time to time. It's what happens when we are so sure of ourselves, when we're so sure that we have the answers, that we have it all tied together, that we have it all figured out, and something comes along that doesn't fit in to our frame of reference, we don't know what to do with it. And so the Pharisees right away get into, this man is trying to work on the Sabbath. He spit and he made clay and he healed the man. You see, this is legalism at its worst. It was forbidden to make clay on the Sabbath because usually one made clay to make bricks and therefore to build. It was work. Jesus is doing the work of God. It's something entirely different. And then they call the man's parents over. Is this really your son, or is this somebody who looks like your son? Then they question the man. Is he of God? We're disciples of Moses. Again, it just doesn't make sense to them what they see. But Jesus goes to this blind man, and unlike what happens in the Synoptic Gospels where the blind man says, Son of David, have pity on me, that request doesn't have to be made in the way that John presents Jesus. When Jesus sees sickness or sin, he goes out to take care of it. He reaches out to the blind man and says, go wash in the pool of Siloam. And of course, there's a reference to baptism here, a connection to baptism rather. Go and wash, be made clean, and then you'll be able to see, and then you'll have faith. And the man does. But his faith grows gradually. He doesn't jump out of the pool and come back and say, I know you're the Son of God, I know you're the Messiah. The Pharisees question him, well, what went on? And all he can say is, I was blind, but now I can see. That's all I know. He doesn't really know yet that Jesus is the Son of God. Then he comes to see gradually that he's a prophet. He must be of God when the Pharisees say, this man is from the evil one. And he says, well, how can he be from the evil one? He cured a blind person. He cured me. And finally, Jesus asks him to profess faith. And he does that. But then, at the end, Jesus makes the statement that makes it hang together for all of us. He says to the Pharisees, if you were blind, there would be no sin in that. But I see, you say, and so your sin remains. Jesus is telling us that blindness is no sin. Not only is physical blindness no sin, but even spiritual blindness, as long as we can admit it. As long as we can say, I don't have it all figured out, I don't have all the answers, I can always grow in faith. There is always some level of darkness to be overcome in me. There's no sin in that. It's our stubborn insistence on staying where we are that's the real sin. And so today the question for all of us is, can you see? Are you blind? Are you willing to bring your blindness to Jesus? May the good Lord give you peace.